Hey everyone,
This is Mukul.
and this is Swapnil,
Welcome to Going Slow podcast, where we discuss our product journeys.
and also have casual discussions around life, universe, and everything in between.
Hello, hello.
Welcome to episode 20 of Going Slow podcast. Hey Swapnil, how's your day going?
Hey, Mukul. Day's going great. Just end of the week. So, yeah, just wrapping up things, preparing for the weekend. And yeah, overall, just chilling. You tell, how's everything with you?
How's your last month though? We haven't had a call for podcast for almost 3 weeks or 4 weeks. How was your last 4 weeks? I saw a few tweets on Twitter where there was a meetup on for Rocket. How did it go?
Yeah. So, yeah, last couple of weeks were super fun. We had our first team offsite. So, in one of the past episodes, we talked about that we were planning one in January, but then the third
Mhm,
wave happened and that sort of got postponed. So, one of our team members was actually traveling to Bangalore for meeting friends, and we just thought, hey, this feels like a good time to do a 1 week sprint, an offsite
mhm.
sprint. So yeah, all of us flew to Bangalore for a week and met. It was like meeting someone for the first time after working with them over Zoom for months now. So that was super cool. It's different when you are interacting with a person over just rectangle versus you're meeting them live. I feel yeah, that is pretty much it's pretty exciting. It's pretty different. So yeah, we had a bunch of topics to work on before going to the sprint, and yeah, we made good progress on them. But overall, more than work, we chilled out more because I feel work, anyways, you do on Zoom as well. But
Mhm.
all those bonding, that is something that it's harder to do on Zoom, and it's much it's sort of relatively effortless to bond when you meet in person. So yeah, that's what we did. We chilled out a lot. We tried a bunch of co-working spaces. Yeah, we went to the cliched Starbucks, third wave cafes to check out.
Which third wave did you go to? I
And
was in 2019 or 2020. I was going to third wave almost every other day because when I was working on side projects, that was like I really liked, and it was such a great place to work. And I went to Indranagar once, and yeah, it was amazing. The ambience and stuff. The Wi-Fi is shaky. They have improved hopefully, but it's fine. The vibe is good.
yeah, for vibes, I used to go to Starbucks in Nagar a few years back, almost daily. And yeah, like you said, Wi-Fi is not that great. So I used to carry that Geo-Fi
The
hotspot dongle. And yeah, I mean, it's just that when you see a lot of people working on side projects, so you can just walk up to anyone and just see they would be working on something new, something different. That just sort of gives you the vibe to work. So yeah, that's a cool place to be in.
it's such a peak Bangalore moment that like few years back, Bangalore was the co-working space, and then some other place was the offsite. But for you, Bangalore is the offsite, and you're working
Oh,
now remotely.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Such a peak Bangalore moment. So yeah, I've heard this from a bunch of my other friends as well. They were like, "Ki, bro, we go out for offsites and you're coming
Yeah.
to Bangalore for offsite." I was like, "Ki, yeah, man, nobody in the team lives in Bangalore." And when we talked about what places we could go to for offsite, Bangalore was the unanimous choice because most of everyone's friends are in Bangalore. So yeah, that makes the most sense. If you go to Goa or someplace else, you just are chilling with your team. But if you go to Bangalore, you get the
More
best of both
flexibility.
worlds. Yeah, you most of your college friends or your other online friends. So even if you have made friends on Twitter, there are high chances that many of them are in Bangalore. So you get a chance to. chill out with them as well. And yeah, the team is there for sure. So yeah, that we didn't even took a lot of time to decide. It was like we floated a bunch of options, and yeah, Bangalore it came out on top.
Yeah, makes sense. I don't think at this time Goa is even an option. And of all the places, if you're not in Bangalore, then Bangalore can be a good place to chill for sure.
Yeah,
And
but
you,
one thing we did. Yeah, go ahead.
Mhm. No, I was just going to ask, like, so did you have the meetup around the same time? The guys arrange meetup and stuff?
Yeah, so we did a meetup on Saturday, and it was open for everyone. So we just loaded registration form, and we kept the theme as we just come and play some games. And the games were a surprise. We sort of did a 90s nostalgia theme wherein we had all those games set up like tic tac toe, thumb wrestling, chopsticks, if you remember. And the most popular fun game that was super popular was pen fight. Everyone was playing pen fight. So we
Oh,
had arranged 10 tables and 100 pens or so, and we distributed them, and everyone was playing pen fight. That was, I would say, the most popular game.
yeah, I mean, I can imagine what game I would have played after all the games you have mentioned. I would have played Pen Fight too, because it's such a yeah, that brings back memories for sure. So it was decided by the team that it should have a theme and stuff. That's
Yeah, yeah.
really
So
nice.
we just started with an idea that hey, let's since that entire team is in Bangalore, let's do a meetup as well because who knows when we together
Hmm.
again.
How,
So yeah, we thought might as
how
well
many
do a.
how many people were there? Did you book a venue for it, or was it at someone's home and stuff?
So we got a meetup space from one of our hiring partners, and that
Oh.
had a space for 50 people. So that was more than enough space. We got around 60, 70 residents and we got 45, 50 people on the day of the meetup. So yeah, I think that was a very good attendance ratio. And yeah, most importantly, the arrangements that the team did, the way we planned, like we distributed some sweets at the start, and then we sort of designed games in a way that you play games by betting one candy, and then if you win, you get others candies, and then at the end, people with max candies got some other gifts as well. So yeah, that was kind of the gamification we did for breaking the ice.
That's amazing. That sounds really super cool. What was there a talk or something, or it was just socializing? Like people were
Just
having
just socializing.
discussion
We
with
thought
each
that
other.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
just socializing. We thought that there's enough talks or enough content online available. So it was
Mm-hmm.
a no meetup, no talk meetup. And we also discouraged folks to talk about tech actively. So at the registration, we had sort of a name tag sticker, and we asked folks to put their hobbies or their non-tech interests there, so you can talk about them. So if you're interested in formula racing, F1, talk about that. If you're interested in stock markets, talk about that. Anything that that you're passionate about,
Yeah,
you can hold a conversation in, which is not tech. So yeah, that was the overall theme, that just have conversations, play games, and have fun.
that's amazing. That name tag thing I saw in board game meetup too, and I really
Mhm.
liked it because it's very easy to strike conversation with then a new person. Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. Yeah, I for going for Formula race here, like F1 race here next week. So I'm really excited about it that it's I think a 3 day event. Yeah, I mean generally race is a 3 day event. So
Nice.
yeah, I'm looking forward to it for sure.
Yeah, you mentioned in one of the episodes that the Formula One racing sport is very precise. It goes on a very high speed, and just do some minute changes, your trajectory is
Yeah.
like very.
Yeah, I mean the whole sport is like heavily focused on aerodynamics and the weight control. If you see the drivers, they have to maintain weight. If you are overweight by any chance, you basically lose seconds, and that is the game of seconds. If you see so basically on Saturn there is a qualifier which decides which pole position you will be in. So basically, if you are P1, that's actually the best because there is no one in front of you, so you don't have to, basically you just pierces through the crowd. But if you are below that, then there is a fight for the position. So yeah, I mean, if the every second, every millisecond counts for them, basically for the pool, for the qualifiers and for the final race. And that's really, I would say. And if you see the pit stops, they are
My God.
usually very quick.
Uh,
That's crazy
so
because
go ahead.
that's
Yeah,
where yeah, and that's where the real game happens because your time does not stop when you're pit stopping. So basically,
yeah,
that is a part of the race. So you have to be fast. If someone messes up, that's like the game over. So I really like how intense that sport is, and it's it's one of those things I would say that's like I feel like expensive because you cannot do it on your own. You can just see it, and so many people are passionate about it, and I can see, oh, okay, this is one of those things which is like people just love to experience and do. And I like the last season, F1 season, and I watched like small of that like 1 year before, but started following last season only. The last season was really good, and this season I was not able to follow that much, but I'm hoping to. The the place I'm staying at, the racetrack is very near from here, so I'm
yeah,
hoping to have like yeah, it's basically for an experience. Like I'll just go for the experience, like how different it is in actual life to see the race. And but yeah, that's definitely one of the, I would say, things I'm looking forward to this month. Also, there was one video where I was seeing that they had to exercise specially for their neck because they are pulling like serious G's and
yeah,
stuff. So basically, if you go to the left, then your neck will go to the other side. So you have
yeah.
to exercise your neck. And basically, if you see their helmet, they have like basically something which holds their neck because otherwise it would be like very strainful for the neck. So it's definitely interesting for sure. But that's like at the almost like the end of the trip. So yeah, but meanwhile, I'm just trying to. This is the first month I have now tuned my parameters on how I'm looking forward to travel in the future. So yeah, now I'm finding like the perfect spot, like how exactly I want to travel and explore. So yeah, it's like a lot of, I would say, hit and trial errors, and after that I finally figured out.
Nice.
So I have one question for you. Basically, I was like while traveling, I was just thinking like I met few people who were traveling for like, I mean, who rent a place for like 5 6 months, stay at that place, and then go to a new place and then stay there for 5 6 months, and so on. It's definitely easier for them, for sure. Our visa is extremely shitty. Sorry, our passport is extremely shitty to do that, but still, there are ways to do it. So my question was, I was thinking this question basically, would you, given an option, you have that option, given an option, because previously it was not an option, but now given an option, if you have an option to buy a house somewhere in Bangalore or rent a house not rent, buy a house, or would you like to rent a place and just like experience like different places, not like fast, like for example 6 months 7 months one place, then next place 6 7 months next place, basically buy a house and give mortgage for next 30 years for one place, or basically rent out forever, for example, so that you can basically go from 6 months in one place, then 6 months in another place, then 6 months in another place, and then
So when you
you
say
can increase
buy,
that duration.
Right. So when you say buy a house, do you mean like on EMI or upfront?
I'm thinking EMI. If you can buy upfront, I guess that's
Yeah,
amazing.
I think so. I have very this thing view on things that if you are buying things on EMI, it could be a house, it could be uh, a MacBook, an iPhone, anything that or a car, anything that you're buying on EMI. I don't feel like doing that because that is basically making you like a slave to the point where you pay it back because then it dictates your lifestyle. It forces you to do things which you might not like to do in future, of course. So right now you like to do things, but taking on an EMI sort of it's like taking a loan, right? So which means you have to pay it off. So yeah, I'm very uneasy with the concept of taking loans.
Yeah, but so to be honest, I was uneasy too. But for example, first of all, the house is expensive for sure to buy. But if you have that money to buy the house upfront, previously I had this notion that I should buy the house upfront, but to be honest, it doesn't make sense to buy the house upfront. Like, because if you put the down payment of the house, so basically, if you buy the house, you have lost the liquidity. You don't your value is not liquid now. Basically, it's attached to the house. So if the house price increase, then only you get the money and something like that, basically. But basically, if you have an option to get a loan, and then basically you pay the down payment and you have the remaining amount, so you have to basically whatever the interest rate the loan charges, basically that with the remaining amount you have to beat that interest in a technical way. Like for example, if the interest rate is 6% and if your money is making 8% per year, so basically you're making 2% profit every year. So something like that. Like basically by and you're more liquid for sure.
Right.
Even though you are paying more money, but technically your wealth is also more because you have an option to basically increase, I would say, wealth margins and stuff. Like because like for example, if your stable returns are 10% or 8%, and if you are getting an interest at a low, because you have a good line of credit for sure, so basically you can get a loan at a cheaper interest rate. So getting a loan and then beating that would be, I mean, it's against the notion I have to or we have to, but that's better. That can be better for sure. Because I was reading about this recently, like most of the companies get loans,
Mm.
and most of the rich people, or for example, any most of the rich people are getting loans, or for example, uh, they get loans because they get loans at a very cheap interest rate, like
No,
three
I
percent, four
understand.
percent, and they just have to beat that.
By taking that, you're taking on a responsibility, you're taking on a liability of paying it back, right?
Yeah, I
The
mean, for
interest
sure.
rate.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of investment, I'm saying, like, for example, purchasing a house upfront might not be a good choice. But my question is, like, would you like to buy a house? And basically, because house is a big investment. Because if you're buying a house, definitely a good chunk of your net worth is going to be linked with that. But now, as things are going remote, you have an option to be like one place for 1 year and then go to another place for 1 year, just rent it out forever. Basically, that's what I'm saying. Like, even though the rent property is not yours, what do you think? Like, what would you prefer, that lifestyle, or would you like to settle in one place? I mean, this is the question I've been thinking a lot recently, so I'm just curious, like, what do you think?
So to be honest, I'm still exploring where can I settle. So a few years back, I thought Bangalore is the place. But yeah, just right now, when I went to Bangalore and lived there for like 10 days, I sort of don't like it anymore. Like one of the main reasons is that it takes like 20, 25 minutes to get a cab. So you have to go. anywhere from point A to point B unless you own a vehicle, which is also pretty bad in Bangalore, considering that you'd just be going from first gear to second gear to first gear in Bangalore traffic. So yeah, transport is broken in Bangalore, and so I'm not sure if I want to live in Bangalore anymore. And then the other cities are pretty much open right now. So last month I was in Kolkata for a few days, and I'm not sure if we talked about this already. I like the city overall. So I like the people there, and the overall, it's very different from the general hustle culture vibes. Like I like the city, as in people are chilling there. It's a laid back city in some sense. So yeah, I'm still exploring cities, I would say. Once I find that okay, this is the city that I can spend a lot of years in. Of course, it can change after 10 years, but at least there should be some initial conviction that okay, this is a city I can live for a few years at least. Once I'm convinced of that, then yeah, then I can think of buying a house. And it can be like if or when you get bored of that city and like get out. So that's always like a backup option. But as of now, I'm not sure of the city that I want to live in for a longer time. So yeah, as of now, I'm not even thinking of buying a house anytime soon. It's mostly like just renting out, going on Airbnbs, just
Yeah.
exploring back still.
Yeah, I mean, basically, that's what I was thinking recently. Because my family is currently stays at a place which is a bit rural, so I would like to stay in more urban area because it just like so that I get to meet a lot of people who are in the same zone, or I would say same who are doing almost like a little bit similar things what I'm doing or something like that. So for sure, I would like to move out someday. But after now coming out of Bangalore, the thought of going to Bangalore is like I do not have good feelings about going back to Bangalore as of now. Like because but if you're not going to Bangalore, what next? Like what's the next place you would go to? That's the question I'm seeing right now for me. And I currently do not have an answer for sure. That's why I wanted to ask this question.
Why
But
not Bangalore? Why, why is Bangalore not an option?
for now, the only thing Bangalore has going is because like a lot of my friends are there. Other than that, that place doesn't have any other thing going on. I mean, the traffic is bad. I mean, it's just difficult to do things if the traffic is bad, basically. Other things are good, like food and all other places, but I just feel there are a lot of other places which are really good and that just needs to be explored. So, for example, that's what I was thinking basically. Now, seriously, previously I was just thinking like whether I can do it or not, but after like 2.5 months, I can do it, and I feel like going to a place, staying there for a month or 2 or 3, and then switching to a new place. I'm thinking like to do it for like next 1 to 2 years so that I can get the whole notion of like for example if I ever get a thought process that hey stay going there or staying there would have been great, then I would have an answer. Oh, I have been there. Like I know that this place is good, but there are this issues and why this place is good. So so I met few people while traveling here. What they do like why some of them has traveled for like extremely long amount of time, like 5 years, 10 years, and so. And after that, travel has lost that speciality for them, or basically they have seen everything, something like that. So now they're like, okay, now we have seen like all of the options we have, and now let's settle at a place where we like the most.
Well,
So I somehow like that notion that instead of like speculating that oh this might be good, that might be good, you just try out like shit ton of different options, and then you figure out like what works best for you.
Yeah. It's almost like you're dating different cities and then figuring out what you like.
Yes, yes, exactly. And I'm not sure because it's possible to get, even though I like certain cities, it's very difficult to get visa and stuff for sure. So it's not like they're calling us to stay here or something. But it's getting remote friendly a bit. There are a lot of countries which are floating now remote visas and stuff. I've seen few people who are applying for remote visas, who have remote visas in Europe especially. And so there are a lot of things to see before getting finalized. Like not like Bangalore is bad. Like Bangalore is amazing for sure, but I stayed there for like 3 years, so 3.5 years. So I have seen that place for long amount of time. Now it's time to see other places before thinking like Bangalore is final or not. Basically, before thinking like Bangalore is the place where I would like to stay or not. Especially like for example, like I really like while traveling, like every place has its own different vibe. Like I'm currently in Barcelona. This place has different vibes than Bangalore, than Mumbai, than Amsterdam, than Portugal. So it's basically after going to these places, you I kind of realize, well, can I stay in this city for a longer duration or not? So yeah, that's something I'm looking out for sure. But I feel the major issue in this thought process is lot right thought process is the major issue which is in this thought process is other than the places and quality of life would definitely be better, but your friend circle and your family is back home or at a different place. So which would you prefer? It's basically, would you like to start over and find a new group of friends at 27, 28, or would you just go to a place where all the people are and just be with them, even though that place is okay?
And that's like a big question. It's hard to make new friends for sure. You have to like invest a lot of time, energy, which I don't have at this point in time. Maybe I'll have it again a few years down the line.
I
But
have
yeah,
it, but people have like I personally not just have, like I don't think it's just possible because there are just not many common things to like. There's like less intersection. Sorry. So like if you're remote, the intersection becomes even less. So it's
yeah,
like very
remote-
difficult.
yeah. In remote setting, it's hard. Like it's easier to make friends wherever you're living. So if you're living at a place for 2 3 months, it's easier to make friends who live nearby. Like proximity is a key factor
Yeah.
while making new friends. That's why we made most of friends in schools and college because you're sort of forced to be around geographically. And yeah, and then you realize, yeah, this person is cool only. Let's talk.
Yeah, that's why I really like the idea of co-living. So I stayed in a co-living in Portugal. It's called Outside. So basically, the whole idea is you will have a private room with private your personal space. Then there is a common area where everyone can work, and there is a kitchen, which is good, very good. So it's and there is a community manager too who basically sees over all the things and stuff. And so they had like for example 10 to 15 in a house generally. So basically it was something like this, like, and most of them were solo travelers because that's the perfect space for solo travelers. So basically 10 to 15 people were working all throughout the day and they had a common WhatsApp group. So and community manager was used to arrange like few events, one event every week or so, or anybody is like basically anybody is free and just want to do something, they will just type in, and if you're free you will just join, if you're not free you will not join. And because it's like hostel with but better hostel and better personal space and stuff. And it was really nice because everybody is working on something, but when they are free, because they are in the same boat, they are also traveling, solo traveling, they don't know here like a lot of people and stuff. So you kind of start discussing, and you kind of start having conversations, and the connection started to build in and stuff. So, and if you stay there for 2 months or 3 months, that's the best way to. I stayed there for a short time, 7 days, 10 days, and I really had a great time. But I think staying there for a month or two, staying in environment like this for a month and two, it's really nice. Before traveling here, I was concerned about solo traveling, whether I would have fun or not. But best thing I have realized is to go to a co-living place where there is something like this, and it's really good because if you would like to socialize, you can socialize. If you would like to like work on something and personal stuff, you can do that. So there's a lot of freedom, and you meet like basically people with same frequency who are into traveling, so they are also there travel. So every week or every Saturday there will be some plans for sure. You just have to join. So I really like that concept. And that's when I realized that which I have been missing for last I think few years and stuff is basically to make friends, or basically to get to know more people. I should do more activities or group activities, for example something which a group does, like for example some sport if they are trying to learn, and I'm taking like a monthly class or something. Or something they're trying to learn and I'm taking like monthly thing or something. It would be great if I could do it in person, but online would be great too. That's what code-based courses are great for, right? I
Yeah,
think so. I have never done it, but that somehow it made me realize along this trip that like it's a good, if there is a common activity between group of people, then you have a chance to basically know or talk to them, or basically have a good time, or you basically know a lot of more people, your perspective increases, and you realize, oh, there are different kinds of things going on in other people's life, and that's interesting.
right. You need a shared interest to act as the foundation, and then you meet regularly, and then you have fun. Like all those things, the side effects, those happen on their own,
Hmm.
but
Hmm.
you need like a core. You cannot just ping someone regularly. Like I've not seen that happening. Okay, let's have fun. Like that does not happen. You need
Yeah.
like a core to
Yeah.
connect. It could
Yeah.
be both love the same thing. It could be you both hate the same thing, but there needs to be something in common, shared interest. And yeah, like you said, cohorts. Like I've made a lot of friends from cohorts. So yeah, that is like a good way, especially online. Since the last few months, I see a decline in cohort-based courses, mostly because people are not confined to their homes anymore. So on any weekend, they have plans to go out. Versus
Hmm.
cohort-based courses were pretty much on fire when people did not have anything to do. Like when I was like in the last 2 years when I was at home, and there's no weekend, there's no night out, there's nothing happening. You're at home. So code-based courses provided a good escape, and you met new people, you learned some new things. That was like a nice mix of things given the constraints. But yeah, now things are opening up again. Yeah, I see less and less people enrolling there. So yeah,
Yeah.
that
Hmm.
there still needs to be some pivot that happens there. Maybe it's going to be a mix of, it's like a hybrid setting wherein maybe most classes are offline, but then you meet for some meetup once or twice, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm That's one of the things I'm starting to try. I have not tried, to be honest, but I'm starting to try going forward while traveling. So basically, now I'm in Barcelona for a month, and that's how I'm looking forward to travel so forth. Like in the future too, that if I'm going to a place, I'll stay there for a month or two. So what I'm thinking of, like, basically, if I'm going to some place, then I should have a kind of a recurring activity to do here there. Like for example, something I'm trying to learn or something. Like for example, I'm not good at swimming. So in Barcelona, where the place I'm at right now, it has a swimming pool. So I'm kind of thinking like I should practice like my swimming for the whole month. I should get better at it as much as I can. And if I'm going to a new place in the future, then I should like join some classes of anything basically that place is famous for, or basically which is really good there, and just learn it. Like basically, it doesn't have to be something which you have done in the past, but it's something you're just exploring something new basically. Like you shouldn't afraid to spend money, and you should. I'm thinking of like basically having certain kind of, like for example, basically if you are going to a place for a month and two, I'm thinking like I should have something which I learned from there basically. Like even though for example here I'm just learning swimming on my own, or for example I'm swimming on my own, but I'll still remember Barcelona as a place where I practiced a lot, or basically did perfected uh, practiced a lot of swimming and stuff. So something like that, if I'm going to a next place or so, that's what I would like to do, where I would just like research it for sure, and like take classes for it for the next 1 month or whatever the time I'm there basically. mm, because sightseeing is something which is like limited, like it's like you can do sightseeing in 2 days. After that, the food is something which you will try out food as much as you can, but that's the whole game. Like if you're staying for 2 months, you cannot eat outside daily. So it's not like you're trying out food every day outside. So then if you're traveling for a long time in a new place, then it's best to have a activity. Like if you're slow traveling, then it's best if you slow travel and learn something new along the way. I feel that I haven't tried anything new in terms of activity for a long time. So I feel this is something I'm looking forward to in the future for sure.
Nice, nice.
I'm not sure that makes sense or not, but the whole the
No,
whole
I
thing.
think that makes perfect sense. It also gives you a sense of progress, which is like outside your work, right? So
Yeah.
that also helps in decoupling your identity. If you only have one thing in which you see your progress, which typically for most people is work, then their whole identity is attached to work. But if you have a bunch of other things, even if you have one more thing, it could be like you said, some new activity, some games, some new thing that you're learning or traveling. Basically, if you see progress in some other area of life, it can be slow progress. That's totally fine. But if you have that, the more you have that, it's like you're sort of investing, or like, what do you call it? You're not putting all eggs in one basket. I'm forgetting the term for it. What do you call de-risking? There's a term for it.
Diversify.
Diversifying. Yeah. Okay, I forget diversifying. Yeah. So it's like you're diversifying um, your portfolio so that you have a bunch of things that can give you happiness independently. Because yeah, that is how, let's say if you're learning a music instrument, or if you're playing a game, anything that you see progress in, you can
Mm.
sort of do deep work in. And if you can do that, there's something that gives you satisfaction, happiness, all those things. So yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I'm starting. Yeah, like these are the things I'm learning along the way, because like first month and half I was hopping places quite often. I mean every week or so, or every 4 or 5 days. But the best thing I realize is to be longer at one place, enjoy it more, and as I mentioned, like learning something would be great too. That's what I feel. But yeah, let's see how it goes into the future. And how if there's something that changes him for sure. But yeah, there is one more question I had. Should I ask it now, or should I should we discuss in the new podcast, next podcast?
Uh, yeah, you can ask it now. I think we don't know when the next episode is going to be.
For sure. I was just thinking like I'm not sure if I asked it in the past. Maybe I asked it in the past. I'm not sure. Like, if money is out of the equation, would you do what you're doing right now, or what would you like to do? Money is not out of the equation. It's just like, I mean, you have enough, basically. For example, the things you like to do. Or maybe we have discussed this, right? So,
I think so. I'm not sure. So yeah, I would learn more about different things. So one learning is like classroom learning where you're learning for marks. The other is like you're
hmm
just exploring because you feel interested, fascinated by it. So
hmm
I feel I would like learn or read more in that sense, like just out of curiosity. I talked about it in some episode. Like the start of the year, I was like reading a book on urban city planning. How do you design a city? How do you design a neighborhood? How do you design a building? What things do you construct and what things do you keep in mind? Even inside a house, what rooms should you design and how should be the passageway and all those things. That was like quite interesting. Then another thing I read, it was on how do you design a board game. I shared the book link with you
hmm
as well. The elements of board game design. So that was like super interesting. Like, even though I know that I'm not going to use it anytime soon. Maybe I use it 5 years, 10 years down the line, but I know that I'm
hmm
not going to use it anytime soon. But
hmm
yeah, just reading this was like super fascinating. So yeah, if I have more time, if money is not an issue, then I would sort of tend to these curiosities more because the thing like we always talk about is that I don't know whether I'll have the same curiosity 5 years, 10 years down the line. But right now I have. So I'll just sort of do more of that, explore more of that until I get bored of it
hmm
and then maybe do something else. So yeah, the simple answer for that would be if I have more time, money is not an issue. I have some interests figured out. I'll just do more of that. And yeah, just chilling out, just traveling more. I'm not at a point where I'm bored of travel yet. There are a bunch of cities that I want to like try out, figure out where do I want to settle in the long term. So yeah,
yeah,
exploring that would be I don't know thing.
yeah,
What about you?
yeah. That's why we are on the same page on that for sure. Like there are so many places to see and stuff. To be honest, I do not have a good answer for this as of now, and I'm not sure, to be honest, because it's something I'm trying to figure out basically. So I was discussing Tarang, co-founder, basically of SidePanda. Like, so we were discussing like basically when we started, our goal was just to get ramen profitable. When we got ramen profitable, our goal was just to be enough that it pays all of our bills and basically is good enough to our monthly salary and stuff. So now once we are reached once we have reached that point, so what next? Like, what is something which we want to do, anything like in terms of like a business, in terms of like other than business, like personal life and stuff. What exactly is the north star or goal you're looking forward to? Because a goal makes you motivated and makes you basically, it's like a magnet which will attract you kind of in its
That gives
direction.
direct. Yeah.
Yeah. For sure. So I would say currently that magnet is totally missing. Like, so that's what I would say I'm trying to do for some time, and I'll try to do in the future. So I do not have a perfect answer this for sure, but I'm just that, and that's what I'm trying to see, like what exactly, in which direction, or what exactly should be the next goal, or which I would like to pursue, or
But
something
what
to look
if
forward to.
what if there's no goal? Like, do you have to have a goal?
I mean, it doesn't have. I mean, I feel like, for example, yes, like for example, I need to have like, it doesn't need to be it, I mean, in terms of business, like it should, at least there should be something I should look forward to. That's what I feel. That makes me motivated. Yeah, for sure. Like for example, during this business process too, like where, for example, the first $10,000 MRR, like we were trying our best, we and it was fun. It doesn't mean that you have to hustle and stuff, but yeah, I mean there is like blurry lines, right? Like for example, the lines get blurry because you're working on something you like, and then that's it. Like basically, there is no definition of work, there is no definition of life. Basically, it's I used to think like work-life balance is something which is like clear distinction between two, but actually perfect work-life balance is basically which harmonizes very well. Like for example, you do not think about those lines at all. That's like the best work-life balance of all, basically. So yeah, I mean, like it doesn't have to be one goal. It doesn't have to be. It can be multiple goals, but something looking forward to do helps me a lot to work towards it. So I'm not sure, but what should, because I, like for example, after $10,000 the next goal can be 1 million or $50,000 $50,000, but somehow that goal is something, is like a treadmill. Like if you reach that, then the number will increase, and that number will just like going to get bigger. There is no upper limit on that thing. So I'm thinking like now, like that's like the thing definitely I would like to achieve, or if possible, but there can be something else too which I would like to strive towards, or which resonates or something, but I'm not sure yet. So I do not have, to be honest, an idea like what exactly I'm looking for as of now, but it's just like hit and trial, like just making and breaking and just trying out shit ton of different things and finding something you strive for along the way. That's like the goal for sure.
Yeah.
Would you like to close?
Cool, cool.
Close?
Yeah, this was a pretty long episode. All right, folks.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you like this episode, tag us on Twitter. Our handle is Going Slow Pod. If you did like us, DM us and let us know. We would love to know how we could improve and what you would like to hear more. Yeah, that's all for today. See you next time. Until then, stay curious and don't forget to have fun.